Okay, so this challenge is titled Student Mark Sum. It's actually very simple. And let's go through the problem. We are given an array of integers, marks, denoting the marks scored by students in class. The alternating elements marks 0, marks 2, marks 4, and so on denotes the marks of boys. Similarly, marks 1, marks 3, and marks 5, and so on denote the marks of girls. The array name marks works as a pointer, which stores the base address of that array. In other words, marks contains the address where marks 0 is stored in the memory. For example, let marks equal to the array containing the elements 3, 2, 5, and marks stores hex, blah, blah, blah. Then hex blah 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 is the memory address of max 0. Okay, so that's the idea. And what are we to do? Complete the function max summation in the editor below. Max summation has the following parameters: int max number of students. This is basically the array containing the max. This is the number of students, which is the size of the max variable, and this is the gender. And the idea is when the gender is passed, you are supposed to sum the max of that gender, right? And then return that summation. So if B is passed, sum the marks for all the boys, okay, and then return that. If J is passed, sum the marks for all the girls and then return that. And we've already been told that the marks alternate. So you have boy followed by girl, followed by boy, followed by girl. And we're supposed to implement this. So first of all, we know from the question that if it's a boy, the index starts at 0 and we keep incrementing by 2. The difference of the index between the first boy and the second boy is 2. Between the second boy and the third boy is 2. It's just the starting index that matters. So if the starting index is 0 and we keep adding 2, we'll be going from boy to boy. If the starting index is 1 and we keep adding 2, we'll be going from girl to girl. So all we need to do is define the starting index. And then based on that, everything is simple. So that's what we are going to do in the code. So we are going to have, yes, to have start index, okay, being equal to 0 initially for boys, right? Then we're going to say if the gender is equal to girl, then we set the start index to be equal to 1, right? Then we have our for loop for the summation. So I didn't create the summation. Let me create the summation variable int sum. Let me make it call sum equals 0, right? Then in order to calculate sum, we know we need a for loop. So for, and then we're using the start index now as our index. And start index should be less than the number of students, okay? And then start index should be equal to start index plus 2, right? Then in this for loop, what do? We find the sum. So score sum plus equal to, since max is a pointer, not an array, well, an array, but in the form of a pointer, we'll have to dereference max plus the index, which is the start index. Okay. And then once we are done, return the sum. Sorry for this long variable names, but you have to bear with me. So this is the code. First, create this variable that will store the sum. We create the variable for the index, which initially we give it 0 for boys. Then we check if the gender is G, then we set the index to 1 instead. Then what do? We write a loop that goes through the array and sums the score for the respective gender. So if it is boys, the index will already be 0. So meaning we'll start from 0, and then since we're adding 2, we'll go to the next index, which is 2. Then we'll go to the next index, which is 4, and we'll only be calculating for boys. If the starting index was 1, then we'll start at 1, then we'll go to the next index, which is 3, then 5, then 7. So we exhaust the number of students in the list, and then we'll return the sum of the scores. It's as simple as that. Let's run the code, and we pass. Let's submit. All test cases passed. So that's it for today. Thank you. Hey, test case 5. Man, all right.